Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
Yo, team, welcome back to another episode. This week we did something a little bit different. Susie sat me down and did an interview style to ask me personal questions about my sports background, my coaching background, a little bit about CrossFit, my passion, and all of that stuff. So I hope that you guys dig this episode. It's a little bit different than our previous ones. If you do, make sure you give it a like and a review. It helps get our podcast out to some new people. All right, on to the episode. Big red button has been pressed. Let's do it. What's up? Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back to the CrossFit Max podcast with your co-hosts.
Oh, yeah.
Susie and Brandon.
Yep. The one with the beautiful voice, his name's Susie.
He's trying to butter me up right now.
The other one is Coach B, a.k.a. Brandon. All right, let's get into it. Wow, this is going to be a fun podcast. I have no idea what it's going to be about, but it's...
Yeah, how the
you tell them.
Tables.
For the Office listeners, you'll appreciate that. For those of you guys who don't watch The Office, you have no idea what Susie just said.
They just think I got the expression wrong, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
Okay, tell them what this episode is going to be about.
Okay, well, this episode was inspired by a podcast that I listened to where there are also a couple who do their podcast, and the husband actually interviewed his wife on their podcast, and I thought the episode was super interesting and cool to listen to. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to interview Brandon. So a little reversal here. I feel like he always asks me questions, especially during the banter portion of our podcast. So yeah. I thought this would be my chance to ask him questions.
Damn. By the way, for the listeners, I have zero idea the questions that Susie's going to ask me. I have no idea. Hopefully, are they going to be fitness related or life related or
all of the above?
All of the above. Wow.
And I have no idea like where this will go. There's like questions that I want to ask. I might not ask. There are things that maybe I didn't think about that will come up. So we're going to totally wing it as we go. But I have a rough idea of questions I want to ask.
Okay. But before we get into the questions, let's do banter topic.
Yes.
How incredible and epic was the competition last weekend?
Yes. Insane. So we had our Turn Up the Heat competition this past weekend.
Yeah.
And it went phenomenal. I don't think we could have ran a smoother operation.
It was straight fire. It was so cool.
There was like no part of it that wasn't amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody seemed to have a great time. The workouts were really tough but fun. The judges were super focused and killed it. Our volunteers from the gym, we had vendors and food and coffee and beer and amazing DJ music. Like there wasn't one element of the day that I was like, oh shoot, we could have changed that.
I think first DJ Navidad, Frank, if he's listening, he absolutely crushed 6 hours of DJing. He said he played 101 tracks.
But he made the day.
Yeah.
There's just no way it would have been as fun without him.
To paint a picture for the people who were not here, Frank set up in the corner right next to the competition floor. So our gym was split right in half. We had competition floor and then we had warm up or chilling area. And Frank set up at the kind of the corner of the competition floor. And I had a microphone, and I've done a few events with him now where we've had neon workouts and he's put on some really good sets, but these are like 1 hour workouts. And this was
like a whole day event.
This was a full day event, yeah. We were here from 7 until 4, but the actual competition started at 8 a.m. and the last heat finished the workout at 2:15 p.m. And he did nonstop. He said did 101 tracks.
That's crazy.
Think of 101 songs that you're gonna play throughout a day. And I had the microphone. I was on the competition floor. I was kind of emceeing the event, making sure all the athletes were ready to go for their next heat, making sure
directing the ship.
Yeah, the schedule was on point, directing the judges, helping the judges, cheering on the athletes, getting the crowd involved. So I had a microphone, and I spent the whole day with Frank essentially, and he was so good, and I felt like I was pretty much dancing for 6 straight hours. So
yeah, it was like a party.
Yeah.
It
Not
was
only
a
was
CrossFit competition party.
yeah, it was really cool. And then the sponsors were all really great. Babes Motion Wear said it was one of her best pop-ups she's ever done. So a lot of people bought some really cool
We are all
sports apparel from
now
her.
repping Babes. Like every girl in the gym has got their Babe shorts, and it's hilarious, and I love it.
Yeah. And then obviously Totem came in and gave some coffee to everybody, and their coffee was really good. I got to have one of their cold brews.
And we actually won coffee because I was on the podium.
Yeah, well, shout out to Susie and Justin. They finished second place at the competition.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was epic. Yeah.
Like cherry on top of an amazing day.
Yeah, and then La Brosse Brewery came in and gave beers. Omnivore supplied the food for the athletes and the judges and stuff, and their food is so good. And
all I can say is like Brandon and I know how to throw a freaking event. It was just insane.
Even I got good feedback from people talking about Jordan Octo Physio, who came in for the day and helped people perform their best, get their bodies ready.
There was no what's the expression?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was like, we covered all our bases. Like there was so much put into this event, and it was exhausting to prepare, and the day of was really intense. There was definitely overwhelm on my side, but there was just so much great things that happened.
As much as I was jealous that you were on the competition floor competing, at the end of the day, I am so happy I did not actually compete.
It would have been hectic.
Oh my God, yeah. I was nonstop from 7 a.m. until the last thing to finish, like nonstop.
To be honest, I didn't really warm up for any of my events.
Yeah.
Because I was just like running around and also trying to do the leaderboard during, which was a challenge for me.
Yeah. But overall, sick event. I don't want to take too much of the time from the podcast, but that was incredible. We're 100% going to do that next year. Turn Up the Heat Volume 2 next year will be even bigger.
Scheduled. July
6th, 2024.
Boom. Mark your calendars.
Yep. It's going to be epic. Can't wait.
We probably will sell out for sure next year. So
based on how this event was, for sure we will.
Because, everyone's going to want to be there.
Yeah.
Not to toot my own horn or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to get into
the nitty gritty?
Yeah. Let's do it. I'm
okay.
nervous.
So this is like my first time interviewing anybody ever.
What is this? Yeah, really. First time interviewing. This might be the first time I've been interviewed since I was 16, applying for my first job.
Yeah. Why do you want to work at Zellers? Yeah. Just kidding.
Yeah. Zellers is like Walmart back in the day.
Yeah, like the ghetto Walmart.
The ghetto Walmart, yeah. It's interesting that they ask that when you're 16 years old.
You're like, I don't want to work here, actually. I'm just here because my mom told me if I don't get a job, not to come home.
Yeah. I need money to buy clothes and video games and stuff, but yeah.
Okay. So let's let the people get to know you a little bit. Mm-hmm. So let's start off with some super basic.
How big are my biceps? How tall am I?
Questions. Yes. No. Just tell me where you were born, how old you are, those things.
Born in Montreal, born and raised right here.
You're a West Island baby.
Yeah. In 3 weeks, so on August 3rd, I'll be turning 30 years old.
Wah, wah.
Wow.
No, just kidding.
Crazy. Yeah.
I feel like 30 is exciting.
Yeah, yes, I'm not excited. Yeah.
But I'm excited you'll be 30 before me.
So born and raised Montreal. I pretty much grew up in this part of what we call the West Island in Montreal. Grew up in Pointe Claire for 90% of my life. Went to school in Pointe Claire. And then, so I've grown up in the West Island my whole life. And born August 3rd, 1993. So I'm going to be turning 30 in 3 weeks.
Cool. And your name is Brandon McDowell. Where does McDowell come from?
Well, McDowell comes from my mom, actually. So I have my mother's last name.
That's out of the ordinary.
Yeah. And she has it from her father. But that name doesn't come from his or from my great-grandfather. That name comes from my great-grandmother. Because of the war and everything, they changed their last name to the mom, I guess my great-grandma. So they took McDowell, and it's Scottish. So, yeah. So it's just weird. I got my mom's last name, who really took it from my great-grandma. Yeah.
Which is especially in I feel like it's less weird now to have like a mom's last name, but it is pretty weird.
Yeah.
I feel like unusual. Almost everybody has either a hyphenated name or their dad's last name.
Yep. I have my mom's last name. So it's interesting for sure. But yeah, Scottish, but everyone always asks me like, yeah, but like what's your real ethnicity? And it's pretty much Canadian. Yeah. All my family, all Canadian, grew up in Canada. Most of my grandparents, actually all my grandparents, born and raised in Canada. Most of my great grandparents, born in Canada.
As Canadian as it gets.
Yeah, pretty Canadian. Hey?
It's interesting because I feel like in Canada, people always ask, but like, where are you really from?
Yeah.
When Brandon's really from Canada.
I am Canadian. There is maple syrup in my blood.
Well.
Actually, no, not really. I don't eat that much maple syrup.
He's like, sugar is bad, kids. Just kidding. Okay, yeah. Interesting. So mother's last name.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your personality a little bit.
Oh, God.
Are you do you consider yourself more an introvert or an extrovert?
Oh, wow.
And why? And I think this will surprise most people.
Yeah, I think most people think I'm extroverted because I coach classes and that's what people...
And you post funny videos on TikTok and you do stuff like that.
I'm definitely more introverted, but my job... How do I answer this? My job is definitely running group fitness, so I'm in front of people doing that. And I know that a big part of building a coaching career is using social media, and I do enjoy social media, and I have no problem being in front of a lot of people or being even around a lot of people, but I definitely would prefer being more by myself, or when I'm in bigger groups of people that I don't know, I find myself more like wanting to be inside of my head as opposed to like, going to meet new people and going to chat with people. And sometimes I think a lot about what I'm going to say. And yeah, so definitely more introverted than extroverted. But that being said, at a young age, I really developed a passion for sports and more specifically like team sports. So I really liked basketball. I was really good at volleyball. I really enjoyed leading a team to an end goal, to a result, hopefully to a victory. And I really liked the pressure that I would put on myself to lead these group of people, these group of boys or men or whatever that is. And now as I got older, now I really, really enjoy leading a group of people through 1 hour of physical activity or whatever that goal is for that session. There's always some sort of goal, whether that's to lift a heavy weight or to get the people to move in a certain way or to be able to get them to follow through on a Metcon in a strategic way. I really enjoy leading people through workouts, or when it comes to sports, I really thrive a little bit more. But in life, I'm definitely the one that would rather watch movies on the couch than go to a party full of people that I don't know.
So like the opposite of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny that you talked about sports because that was going to be my next question. But I just wanted to loop back. I think the misconception is that introverts have to be shy. Mm-hmm. And I would just say you're an introvert, but you're not a shy person. You're confident to talk in front of people. Yeah. It's just not how you necessarily recharge your batteries. Like your idea of ideal Friday night is not going to have small talk with a bunch of strangers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely not the person that would like to go to like a bar on a Friday night and just start to like get to know new people and chat and stuff. That's not necessarily my my jam. I do love people in general though, and I guess that part of me enjoys spending time with people that I do know. But getting to know people or new people is always a little bit stressful for myself. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
does that answer it?
Yeah.
Is that good?
You can't answer wrong because it's about you.
Oh, okay, good.
But funnily enough that like I asked you if you're introverted or extroverted, and your first thing was to talk about sports. And the next question on my list is when did you get into sports? What was your favorite sport?
Oh, yeah.
And why?
Okay, well, I'll let the listeners know that growing up, I was not an athletic kid at all. I was a pretty chubby, out of shape, video game type of kid. I was very overweight, actually, from the age of, I don't know, around like 8 years old. I started really putting on a lot of weight. Didn't play any sports at all until I was 11, I believe. 10 or 11, I played soccer. My parents put me into soccer, and I really did not like soccer at all.
Oh my God, Dad, if you're listening, remember you love Brandon.
Yeah. Soccer, I was terrible at. I remember I would play either defense or goalie because I was so out of shape that I couldn't run. Yeah. And I remember being so bad and I was so bored that when I would play goalie, let's say if I had the ball, I would kick the ball to the other team just so they can kick the ball back on me.
That's so funny. What an interesting technique.
Yeah. So I would say I was pretty chubby from the age of 8 to about 15 years old. So I played soccer at the beginning. I think I played soccer for 2 years. I was terrible at it. I didn't enjoy it at all. I did a summer camp football. I think I did 2 sessions. The first session, they gathered all these kids in. It was like pads and everything. It was a contact tackle football. And at that point, I was starting to get into the NFL. Like I was watching the NFL with my stepdad at the time, and I was starting to become a pretty big New England Patriots fan. So I said let me go try this. This looks like so much fun. I would watch football every Sunday, and the coaches gathered all these kids in. I don't know, we must have been probably 75, 80 kids, and they made us run around the football field. And actually, come to think about it, it wasn't even fully around the field. It was probably like maybe 2/3 of the football field run around it, and I had to stop halfway. And I remember crying because I couldn't make it to the end. And my dad always laughs.
You poor thing.
My dad always laughs at me about this because when I finished that, this is the first thing. They gather us all in this massive group, and we all run around the field. Well, I had to walk it. And I remember going to my dad after and crying and just saying, like, my heart stopped. And he never lets me live it down to this day. So
Facts. I've heard this story many times.
So I played football for a very short period of time. And then when I was 12 or 13 years old, I got into basketball. Mm-hmm. And I was pretty terrible my first year of basketball. I actually played in a winter league. I was pretty terrible at it, but I knew that I really liked it. I really enjoyed the teamwork, the 5-on-5, passing the ball, shooting the ball. I was god awful the first year, and I remember as soon as someone passed me the ball, it was freeze, don't know what to do, don't know how to dribble the ball, don't know how to shoot the ball, like just pass the ball to someone else as fast as possible. And I remember my parents always being like, you can hold on to the ball for more than 2 seconds.
Like a hot potato.
Yeah. So played basketball and loved it, was terrible at it. And then after that winter had finished, we bought a basketball net during the summertime to put in our driveway. And I played almost every single night for hours, just shooting the ball, practicing. I had, what do you call those, Walkmans, those like CD Walkmans.
Oh my God, you're aging yourself.
Put them in my pocket, this big CD thing with like these big headphones, and would just shoot for hours. And it was like when I was the next year, I think I might have been like 14 years old. I was pretty good. I was the second year. I was the oldest kid in the division, and I was pretty good. And a lot of coaches who were in it the previous year were really, really surprised because at that time I was one of the worst in the league. I would definitely say our team was one of the worst in the leagues, and I was one of the worst players on that team. And then the following year, all the coaches, and I remember this pretty well, were flabbergasted by how much better I got. Not to toot my own horn here, but I got significantly better in basketball because I spent all summer practicing for hours and hours and hours on that hoop, going to parks, playing with friends, and yeah. So I developed a passion for basketball. Really loved it. And then I would say I was still quite chunky, but then I would say when I was 15 years old, that's when I started actually working out. I had in our basement, not only was I playing basketball, but I started doing like bench press and dumbbell curls. And I remember I did a jumping program to improve on my vertical jump so I could jump higher for basketball.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I feel like something that people maybe don't know about you or wouldn't know about you is that when you want to learn how to do something, you're very self-sufficient. You're very self-taught in lots of stuff. Yeah. Brandon, I've been with him for 5 years now, and he's self-taught himself tons of things. Videography,
social media stuff.
Like, the man just dives into like the internet. I guess partially part of his introvertness is just like figuring things out on his own and like, applying it until he becomes friggin' good at it.
Thanks, love.
So I can imagine 15-year-old you deciding like, I want to be good at basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Just spending all your time trying to get good at basketball.
And I got pretty good at basketball. And I would say the year after, so when I got pretty good at basketball, I started getting good when I was 14, 15. But when I was 15, I decided to try out for the volleyball team in high school, because it was right before basketball season started. So I joined the volleyball team for high school, and I was really, really good. I always liked playing volleyball in gym class.
Oh my God, I hated volleyball.
Well, anything like hand-eye coordination, I'm pretty good at.
I am the opposite.
So I tried out for the team, and I would say that although basketball was like my passion for most of my life, I really enjoyed playing basketball. I was probably better at volleyball when I joined on my first year. And I remember I won like offensive player of the year on my first year of volleyball for high school. Second year, smashed it again. It was really, really fun. So I played in the last 2 years of high school in volleyball, and I really, really enjoyed it. The volleyball season is very short in high school. It's only like maybe 2 months, whereas like the basketball season is like October, November, December, January, February, March. So 6 months of basketball of in season, and then you can play basketball on your own all summer with your friends or by yourself in the driveways or at basketball courts, whereas volleyball is a really short time frame. You're only playing for 2 months in high school. So I really enjoyed volleyball. When I went to CEGEP, my plan was to do CEGEP in 2 years, but I lived on my own, so I had to make a decision to not.
Wait, so how old were you then?
So I was 17.
Okay, and you moved out.
Yeah. When I was 17, I moved out on my own. Or maybe I just turned 18. I can't remember. 17, 18. I was around there. And I moved out on my own. I had to work, pay for rent and all that stuff, and then also go to school. And I remember just unfortunately making the decision that I couldn't do all of that and also try out for a sports team. So I was going back and forth between basketball and volleyball. My heart definitely knew that volleyball was the sport that I would probably thrive in the most and be able to play more time, as opposed to if I played basketball, I would have got some time on the court, but I probably would not have been a starter. Whereas I knew like if I played CEGEP, then I probably could have been a starter.
For volleyball? Yeah.
So it was unfortunate. I just made the decision that, hey, I'm going to keep up the house league basketball. It's just once on the weekend, and I'll keep it up for fun. It's now an adult league. And I kept that up for a couple more years. And then after the first year of living on my own, going to CEGEP, working, it was just a little bit too much to handle. So I decided to spread out my CEGEP from 2 years to 3 years. So I took like an extended year and just, spread out my courses. So the course load was not that high. On the second year, I still didn't play any sports. And then after the second year of CEGEP completed, there was the Summer Olympics. And I watched a ton of like beach volleyball and regular volleyball and just fell in love with watching it, and thought, you know what, my schedule for the next year, the next 2 semesters of CEGEP are going to be pretty light because most of my courses are done. Let me go try out for the team. Let me just go and do it and see. I haven't played volleyball in 2 years now at this point. Let's just see if I still got it. And tried out for the team and made the team almost instantly and was a starter right away.
So you still had it.
Still had it, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So then you played volleyball.
Then I played volleyball, yeah.
Very cool. So favorite sport basketball, best sport, volleyball.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So the man likes to jump and throw balls.
Yeah. And probably that's why I'm fairly decent in Olympic lifting. Like a lot of Olympic lifting is learning how to like fully extend your hips violently.
Very
and
true.
when you're trying
violently.
when you're
aggressively, maybe violently
Violently.
seems aggressively violent.
Well, when you're trying to jump as high as you can to block someone, or you're trying to go up
Right.
to do like a layup or a jump shot, you're extending your hips very violently and aggressively. As hard as you can, but it's not a thought. It's not, I need to snap my hips forward.
Right.
In CrossFit, for a lot of people, that is the case. You need to learn how to do that.
Right.
So that's why
getting that full extension was like in your background.
Yeah. So anything like Olympic lifting came a little bit more natural in terms of power at the hips. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's my entire sports life. Wow.
History from like the age of 6 till now he's doing CrossFit. Very cool. Okay, so that's what you liked about sports. What made you want to be a coach? Like when did your passion for just doing sports turn into wanting to help other people?
I'll maybe go before that. What got me into CrossFit, and because CrossFit led me into coaching first.
Yeah.
So when I finished Cégep, I'd completed volleyball. Basketball was still once a week, but now I had almost no physical activity throughout the week. I just had the basketball game on the weekend. So I found this, or I was following this YouTube influencer at the time, and we're talking 12 years ago, 13 years ago. YouTube wasn't really a big thing. And he was posting like going to the football field or going to fields and like doing CrossFit stuff. And he was talking about CrossFit, how he joined a CrossFit gym. And so I decided, I was picking up a little bit of running. I was starting to do a little bit of running.
What? The man who hated soccer and football because of the running?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, after that, like I ran so much in basketball and volleyball too, but I knew I wanted to keep it up. So I was doing the local gym thing. I was going for runs, wasn't really having that much fun. And then I followed this guy on YouTube and started just doing football, track and field workouts by myself.
Right. Yeah. We've talked about those in our previous episodes.
Yeah. So I would just go to the track and field and just go work out and do a bunch of random stuff. And then I simply just Google searched CrossFit and then ended up finding a local CrossFit gym and doing CrossFit. When I finished Cégep, I moved into a house that my mom was renting from. So I moved from the apartment that I was in to the house that she was in. And right next door to the house was like a 600 square foot garage that the landlord was just storing his cars in. And so I was really starting to enjoy this CrossFit. I was about 20. Yeah, I was or a little bit under 20, about around 20 years old.
Yeah.
When I was starting to really like CrossFit and starting to kind of get that passion back for sport now. At the time, it was very sporty. I don't know if it's the same vibe anymore. I don't know if it's maybe because I've been doing it for so long now, but at the time it brought me back memories of being on a team and doing team sports from basketball, from volleyball. So I felt very like team oriented, really liked it. And then I started feeling that, that passion that I talked about leading and coaching people and, being the captain for a team that I really loved. So I started to feel that. And then it had a huge impact on my life, not just inside the gym but a huge impact on the outside of my gym, or outside of the gym at the time. So anyways, I asked the landlord if he would rent out this 600 square foot garage, which 600 square feet doesn't seem like a big surface area, but for a garage, it's massive. It was a very massive garage. It had a double door at the front that you would slide up, and it also had in the back of it another sliding garage door.
Okay.
So I wanted to turn that into not necessarily CrossFit, but kind of boot camp style.
Yes.
So what I did one day is I bought one mat and put it in the driveway, I went to like a local fitness place and bought like a barbell, some bumper plates, and I was training my brother and just doing stuff in the driveway. And my brother was playing football at the time. My brother is not like me. My brother is 6'3", and at the time he was like 300 pounds. He was a huge kid, and he was playing football. He was on like the offensive line, but he needed to work on his conditioning.
Right.
So his coaches kept telling him they need to work on his conditioning. So I would start to help him out, and we would start to do exercise. But my brother was 300 pounds. He was kind of, he's 15 years old, huge kid, kind of lazy a little bit.
He's your younger brother, right? He's 5 years younger than you?
Yeah, 5 years younger than me. So I'm like 21 or 20-ish at the time. He's 15. He was a little lazy. I was trying to coach him and trying to get his conditioning up. And then one day I was just working out by myself in the driveway, and my next door neighbor came over and said like, "Hey, how much would you charge to train me?" And I thought, I had zero clue, zero concept.
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Yeah. So I asked the landlord to rent the place. He said yes. I think I rented the garage for like $500 a month, and I started my.
I mean, that's still a lot of money when you're only 20 years old.
Yeah.
And you're paying rent to live in the house. Like, you weren't living for free.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot. That's a big commitment.
It was a big commitment for sure.
I I wanted the picture to be painted correctly, that you're not just like you had to invest in this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I spent a decent amount of money on so when he said yes, I had to put like rubber matting down on the floor. So I invested like a couple $1,000s into this for sure.
A couple of $1,000s when you're 20 years old and you've just finished CEGEP is like a ton of money. And it's not like you had been living at home that whole time. You've been living on your own since you're 17. So it's hard to save money when you have your whole life to pay for.
Yeah, true. Think about it like that. I just
feel
thought
like
about this
you
passion.
think it's super normal because that was your norm, but like from my perspective, it's super non-normal. My norm is I had everything readily available to me. I didn't have to pay. I never understood the concept of paying rent until I moved out when I was like 20.
Yeah, I worked hard for it. So I just started running group classes out of that garage. It was pretty cool.
What was it called? What'd you call it?
It was called the Max. So Max, like MAC''S, not like our gym.
Max. Like MacDowell.
Yeah, exactly. Max Fitness Shack. God, it's so cheesy.
We have actually like the Max Fitness Shack t-shirt framed in our living room.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
And now we're at CrossFit Max.
Yeah,
with
MAX. So I started promoting it. I started running boot camp classes out of the garage twice a night. You built a
pretty big membership base, didn't you?
Yeah, I think at one time we were like maybe 50 people.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's crazy.
Really cool. Yeah,
and then what happened to it? Why aren't we not still in the Max Fitness Shack?
Yeah, my mom decided to move out of the house. I think there was financial reasons behind it, but she decided to move out of the house. And, if she moves out of the house, I was able to hold on to the garage until someone wanted to rent the house after. So the house was vacant for maybe 2 months, and I was able to hold on to the garage for a little bit longer. But I ran the Max Fitness Shack for just over a year, which is pretty unfortunate.
Yeah. You kind of got screwed in that situation.
Yeah, I spent a decent amount of money on it, put a lot of work, and then
you were just a coach with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I went to a CrossFit gym, and I asked if I could rent space from their gym, and like ran my boot camp classes
from a gym.
From that CrossFit gym. Yep. And then what was the question again?
Why did you want to become a coach?
Oh, why did I want to become a coach? Yeah. So sorry.
But it's okay. Just tell us what happened next. So you rented space from a gym, and then
so I rented space from the gym.
Classes then?
So the owners of that CrossFit gym kind of led me on. I won't go too much into detail here, but they led me on to.
They did you a little dirty.
They wanted me to be a coach at their gym, so I was waiting, and long story short, they told me to go get my level 1. They said, "Hey, we're ready to hire you, and you need to get your CrossFit weightlifting cert." So I went to go do both of those certifications.
A few other $1,000 invested now in yourself.
Yeah.
Let's just
Yeah.
call it what it is.
And yeah, in the end, it didn't work out. They didn't have a position for hiring for whatever reason, whether that's financial, like they said, or, whatever. I just didn't get the job there.
They forced you to go get your certifications, but then you didn't actually get a job. But lucky for you, you did get your certification. They couldn't take that from you.
Exactly. I did. And the level 1 course is incredible. The CrossFit level 1 is an incredible course.
Yeah.
The CrossFit weightlifting weekend course is really
invaluable. Such great skills that you were able to acquire.
You learn so much about weightlifting in general in that course. And then the CrossFit level 1 is just a life-changing course. So yeah, I did that. There was no job for me there. Eventually, I was working at like a smoothie bar, and it was obviously not what I wanted to do. I was working at a smoothie bar inside a Gold's Gym, just dishing out food and smoothies.
Shout out to Fresh
shakes.
MTL.
Yeah. And they were great. They were
great people, just not your dream job.
Yeah. Great people, a great company, a local company here in Montreal, and they've been doing so well. It's been really cool. I've been following them on social media, but yeah, I worked there for a few years. And then I got a contact with an old coach of mine, one of my first ever coaches, and he asked me if I wanted to coach, and next thing you know, I was coaching at a CrossFit gym. And yeah, I guess the reason why I wanted to coach people was because I knew from personal experience that not just CrossFit, but the coach that led me to really enjoy going to CrossFit classes and to develop a passion for CrossFit, I feel like changed my life completely.
Who's that?
And that coach specifically is LP, one of our really close friends. He had a massive impact on my life, and the trajectory of my life changed completely. I guess we could talk about that in another podcast, but yeah, he changed my life for the complete better. And I didn't only notice it for myself, but I noticed that other people were having huge impacts on their life. So I wanted to be able to help people, and that's kind of my passion, is to help someone where they are today, whether that's them just looking for something for activity, whether that's someone who is maybe overweight or unhealthy and trying to create a healthy life, whether that's someone that's, maybe not in the best mental place, which I was not in the best mental place when I started CrossFit, and help them through physical activity and a healthy, balanced lifestyle. And we've had many of those clients already who have just come in here for mental reasons, and they're reaping the rewards from that.
Yeah, I feel like that's the under talked about piece, and one of the most beautiful parts of CrossFit.
Yeah. So that was something I realized first personally, and then I started realizing that it was happening to other people. And then when I started getting into coaching people, I really, really loved the feeling. And I think one of my biggest flaws is caring too much. I really carry a lot of our clients' weights on my shoulders. I've gotten way better over the last several years of coaching, but I remember at the beginning I would hold on to a lot of that. And feel like, I would just feel responsible for
their health,
their goals, whatever they wanted or whatever they were doing in life. I would maybe care a little bit too much, if someone is...
And how would that come out?
What do you mean?
You caring too much. What do you mean by that? You mean that you would get annoyed with them?
No, I would get not necessarily annoyed. I would get stressed. I would feel their pain. I feel like I would have nights of, this person's really having a hard time on X, Y, and Z, and how do I get them better? And I guess maybe on the frustration side of things, I would never get angry at people, but I would be frustrated and be like, I have the tools to help you. Why aren't you following me?
Yeah.
Sometimes that still happens, for a lot of clients, that'll always be the case, I feel like.
Yeah.
But for sure, when I first started coaching, it was learning how to balance coaching career versus my personal life.
Right. Trying not to bring work home with you, as people would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's only so much you can guide people to. At the end of the day, people are going to be in charge of their own actions.
Yeah. And for sure. I mean, as a CrossFit coach, we're here for 60 minutes for those people, but sometimes people lay some heavy stuff on us. like really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard to just keep that at the gym sometimes because
Absolutely.
although I am
you
more,
do care.
although I am more introverted, I do really care about the people that are around me. And I truly care about the people that I get close to. And I feel like
that shows and everybody feels it. I think that's why you're so good at being a coach.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of one of the main reasons why I loved coaching and getting into coaching.
Nice.
Yeah. The feeling of that people will express to you comes in different ways. Some people are like full on send you messages and thankful messages. And then there'll be other people who will show you, will give you hugs and give you words when you're in person with them, and they'll tell you these things. And then other people, you'll just, they don't even have to say it. They don't even have to say it. You just know. Yeah. You know, like you look at them and it'll be a one word type thing. And you know that, okay, like
we're making an impact.
I'm making an impact on this person, and they're receiving it really well right now. And yeah, so it's hard to describe, but yeah, that's the main reason why I got into CrossFit.
And did you always want to open your own gym? Well, you kind of already did have your own gym,
right? Yeah. As soon as I opened the Max Fitness Shack, I knew that like one day my goal was to open up a gym for sure. That was the main priority.
Okay,
right,
so
hit me with the next question, babe.
If you knew for sure all of your dreams would come true, then what would your life look like, or what would this gym look like in 5 years from now?
Oh, snap. Wow. From opening a gym, from did I always want to open up a gym, to what would the gym look like in 5 years from now?
Yeah.
Oh. The gym, I mean, there's so many different directions I can go with this. In 5 years from now, I hope that we have about 200 members in our gym. I'm hoping we have about 200, max 250 clients in our gym, max, because I think that would be pushing it, and the service per client wouldn't be as great.
Yeah.
But I would love to be around 200 clients in the gym. I would love for us to have multiple coaches who are wanting to thrive in their careers, who are probably doing most of the coaching hours. I personally still want to be coaching in 5 years, and I still want to be coaching for the rest of my life, just not in as heavy of a load that I'm doing right now.
Right.
But I would love to coach, let's say, a few hours per week. In terms of, I mean, obviously our equipment right now, our equipment is at a very general, like, I think we have some pretty badass equipment for our first year of being opening.
Very badass.
But for sure, there's certain equipment.
Bare minimum.
But yeah, for sure, like I would love for us to have, let's say, 10 rowing machines and 10 bike machines and 10 ski machines. And I would love for us to be able to extend our rig a little bit further than what it is. I would love for us to have others, or provide more services consistently than what we're doing right now. For example, I would like us to be diving into a little bit more of the nutrition with our clients. I think that is something that we haven't truly tapped into just yet, because our focus is kind of driven everywhere. Yeah, I think for sure, I mean, hopefully sooner than 5 years. But on the short term, I'd love for us to have the CrossFit Max logo out on side.
We're working on it.
We're working on that. That'll hopefully be done relatively soon, but we have a little speed bump in
big massive mountain bump, but nothing we can't handle.
Yeah, for sure. I would love for us to be able to do something like outside in the back. That would be cool. We have such a cool little back area.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is like ours to play with, but if it is,
we have so much space back there. That could be really cool. Imagine having like a little outdoor area. For sure, I would love for us to have a family that's already started, and I would love for you to be coming in a little bit less, but also still being part of the community, and having not just Max come into the gym, but little Brandon and Susie's run around the gym as well. Yeah, I don't know. I would, I'm just hoping we keep doing what we're doing, and we keep growing this community the way we have been. Yeah, running badass events like we did last weekend. Yeah, running cool neon workouts, running just just making more of a splash in the not just the CrossFit world. I was telling Susie this last weekend, and I've told some members here, but I feel like this Saturday that just passed, this competition, we did like a nice little splash in the CrossFit world.
Absolutely.
I would love for it to not just be the CrossFit world. I would love for us to just, CrossFit Max is making a splash in the West Island. Like, I would love for more people to be talking about it, talking about this epic gym, maybe even having like a wait list for clients trying to join here. Like, that's what I would freaking love.
Yeah. Become a household name.
Yeah, for sure. Getting this podcast out to more people.
Very
just having
cool.
a greater outreach. That's what I would love to do. That answer it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer. Well, I feel like this has been interesting. And hopefully people have gotten a chance to get to know you a little bit more and a little bit more about your background. I feel like I have a million other questions I want to ask you.
Snap. We're deep into the time of this podcast, but
so maybe we'll just have to do another episode.
Well, getting
like
to know
this.
Coach B Volume 2.
Yeah, I feel like we've really only just like scratched on the surface level of stuff, and I was hoping to get a chance to go a little deeper with you.
Do you want to go one more question?
Well, we can do one more question, but I
Do it.
Okay.
Last question.
What's it like working with your wife?
Oh, snap. All right, we're going to call it there, folks. What is it like working with my wife? Well, first of all, it's pretty amazing. We get to do this thing
Good
together. We get to do this really, really cool thing. I use this word epic a lot, but it is epic. It's very fulfilling. It's really beautiful that we get to do this together every single day. It obviously comes with its ups and downs. We have worked, I talked about balance with clients before and personal life, and we have worked hard over the last couple of years. I mean, we've done CrossFit Max now for almost a year. We're 11 months in now. Before that, we did Blossom, which was our online company. We did that together. So we've really been working together now for several years, and it's obviously been a challenge to balance personal relationship-wise and business-wise.
Definitely.
But I think we're getting pretty good at it, and it's always going to be a work in progress. But it's pretty cool. We wake up every day. We have the same goal to build this great business.
Yeah.
I have someone to bounce off my idea at almost every second of the day.
Yeah.
So
that's nice.
Whenever I have a question, or whenever you have a question, or whenever we need something, we can always rely on the other person to help each other out. Saturday was a prime example of that. I was completely busy on the floor. You were doing other things. You were doing the leaderboard, making sure the judges sheets were good and stuff. And there was a few times where I had to come over to you quickly and be like, hey, don't forget this. And then you would come over to me and tell me this. And it's like communication has gone so much better, I feel like, over the last couple of years.
Yeah. I feel like working as a couple, you also know the other person's like not going to quit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah. So working with you is pretty awesome, actually. I feel like for sure there's the challenge of the relationship and business and the balance of both of those.
Or like if we have a fight at home, we still have to come to work together.
Yeah.
That's hard. Or the opposite. If we have a fight at work, does that mean it's related to something that has to be brought home with us on the weekend?
Yeah.
Not that we fight, but like...
Well, come on now. It's only normal.
No, but I mean, like, they're not like bad fights, but like
Yeah.
if I'm mad at you about not doing the laundry at home, it doesn't mean that
you get mad
can't...
at me for not doing the laundry?
No, I'm just trying to give like a mundane example. Like,
FYI, Susie does most
I do
of
all
the laundry.
Don't touch my clothes. But I just mean if we have an argument about something mundane in the house,
Yeah.
and then we have to like show up at work with like a smile on our face and be I wasn't just giving you shit 5 minutes ago in the car, you know?
Oh yeah. That's probably something that
That's
the
the
listeners and the clients don't realize is, I mean, those little tiny things like that, but I've had some pretty major things where something happens before and then you're coaching right away. Like I've been broken up by text message 6 seconds before my client walks through the door and I'm about to coach them. And there have been some shitty situations where something happens in life and then it's like, all right, within now a couple minutes, 2 minutes,
you have to be the light.
You have to be the
room.
light in front of 12 other people or 15 other people. Sometimes there have been 20 other people in front of you. And it's like, whatever just happened in your life, you have to tuck that deep down, and you need to make sure that this hour or whatever time it is for those people that are in front of you, that this is their best hour of the day.
Yeah, I would say that's the hardest part of this type of job.
Yeah, there's been some moments in life where it hasn't been super great, but I've gone where I think, anyways, balancing for sure between us it will always probably be the challenge for what we're doing in life. Like we're working together, we don't get a break
from each other ever.
We do everything together. Yeah. But on the flip side, I think that's what's so amazing. We're both quality time, love language people.
Yes.
So we get every second of quality time together.
Yeah. I think the other side of that is, though, sometimes we confuse time together, like in each other's presence, with quality time.
Well, we have the quantity time together.
Yeah, that is a non-issue.
Yeah.
I get to see your beautiful face all day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Does it make you upset if ever we get into a fight and like you're all like at the front desk and I'm biggest smile in front of a group class?
Oh my gosh, there's nothing that irks me more or worse. We'll get into a fight and then I have to do your group class and you'll be like, straighten your back on this deadlift, and I just want to like punch you in the face. But instead I'm like, thanks for the really great coaching feedback, babe.
Yeah.
But like inside I'm like, rah!
Yeah, that's absolutely hilarious. That doesn't happen much, by the way, guys, but it definitely happens. Yeah,
it's definitely happened a few times. It's very rare.
Yeah.
I would say 99% of the time it's all good.
Yeah.
But on those 1%, it's like very painful.
Yeah. But honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world. We have a pretty amazing situation going. We're building this thriving community, and
we're very lucky that we can both be here all day.
I mean, I get to work with my wife. I get to live with my amazing wife, and
lucky you.
Yeah, I get to see.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I am lucky. I truly am. I do believe that. I believe we have a very lucky life. I think we work really freaking hard, but I do feel like we have built a pretty solid life, and I am looking forward to the next 5 years of building this CrossFit Max team in a different way. I think like we obviously want to start having a family in the future.
Expand the CrossFit Max team for sure.
We want to be expanding the team here. We want to, as the gym grows, our roles are going to have to grow as well, and they're going to have to shift towards other responsibilities. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Wow.
Okay, I don't know if I can handle another question right now. That was a lot. I feel pretty good. Hopefully,
I wanted to get a few more of those types of questions in, but that's okay. I feel like this has been a really nice episode for people to just learn a little bit more about you, because I feel like because you're more introverted, you don't talk about yourself as much as me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that was good. Hopefully the listeners enjoy this. I do want to talk about myself one more time, and I want to talk about our client of the week because it goes hand in hand here.
Perfect.
In less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be hopping on the competition floor at another gym, which I'm super pumped about. But I am going to be doing this with our client of the week,
Yay.
Daphne.
Pew, 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 pew.
She has been absolutely killing it. She's our client of the week this week because she just did our Turn Up the Heat competition.
Absolutely.
15 years
Went
old.
after it.
Killed it on the competition floor. Had a good attitude the whole day. I am super excited to be sharing the competition floor with her in like 12 days from now, 11 days, whatever that is.
Very exciting. She has totally been applying herself to her CrossFit. She started doing accessory work with Brandon. She's been doing extra stuff. She came in on Sunday after the day after the competition and hit up her workout solo. It takes a lot of discipline to do that, and she's only 15 years old. So
and I think
she's crushing it.
I think a lot of the members also have noticed how much she's just improved over the last 11 months.
It's wild.
Yeah. Her weightlifting. What did she do on the clean and jerk complex?
120.
Yeah, 120 pounds. That's so good. 15 years old. So we had a clean complex last weekend at the end of a hard AMRAP of 13 minutes, where it was a deadlift, a hang clean, a full clean, and a jerk, and she hit 120 pounds.
And she's been doing CrossFit for less than a year.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's so impressive. So her ceiling is so high, and I can't wait to.
The limit does not exist.
Can't wait for her next 5 years as a CrossFitter. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm I feel very fortunate to share the competition floor with her in a couple weeks. It's going to be cool.
I'm excited for you guys.
We're going to go there purely for the reason of just exposure, experience, having fun. I'm not going to put any pressure on her. Hopefully she doesn't put any pressure on me.
Don't mess this up, Brandon. Daphne's
yeah.
reputation is on the line.
Yeah. But honestly,
cool.
Daph, if you listen to this, then we appreciate you. You're an awesome client of ours, an awesome friend. And yeah, keep killing it, girl.
Love her.
Yep.
Amazing. All right.
If you guys enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give it a like and maybe even give us a little review. It helps get our message out to more people, and we appreciate you so much.
All right. Later, gang.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.